In this video, I'm going to be analyzing every touch from my Sunday League game in the hope that I get better. Alright, first touch of the game. I receive the ball from my mid, take my touch straight toward an opposing mid, and get dispossessed. Incredible. Alright, let's break it down. The pressure is coming from here, so my best bet would be to just turn and start going down the line to look for an open pass. That's pretty much my only option, as taking my touch here would instantly put me under pressure from this player tracking back, as well as the guy that's already on me. Next touch. My right back passes the ball to me. I do a good job at shielding the ball and taking my touch into space in front of me. And then... what am I, a crab? I don't fully know how to process this, so let's just move on. Our keeper Drew boots the ball high in the air toward me. I actually run at the ball this time, and then do a cute over-the-head kick to try and find my forward behind me. But of course, I don't find my forward. I find myself looking really goofy. Now, this isn't the simplest play because as I'm trying to control the ball, I have one of their attacking mids running back at me. So I can't take my touch here. I really think that there are only two options. One, I take this on my chest and into this space. Or I could pretend to try and control this and just let it bounce behind me, allowing me to turn and potentially bring it down later. The only problem is that, although there is some space behind me, depending on the bounce, it could go close to this defender and we would be dispossessed. Next play. I once again receive the ball from my right back, I take an okay touch into my stride, dribble at a sloth's pace, and then pass it back to our mid once I'm under pressure. I then start running into space and my mid tries to find me, but the ball gets intercepted. I think this play is okay. The biggest note here would be speed. Once receiving this ball, there is a good bit of space in front of me here. If I took a more heavy touch and injected in some pace, I could get myself ahead of this defender and occupy this space, which would allow me to potentially pass it off to either one of my forwards. Here we have another throw-in, something I struggled with a lot in the last video. Let's see what I elect to do. Wow, that was almost good. I do still wait for it to bounce, which makes me a trash boy, but I do shield the ball with my body, as well as take my touch into space, and even play it out to my open teammate. Wow, who is this guy, huh? It's still me, just barely better. Alright, another throw-in. Now, I just proved that I figured these out, so surely I don't great. Don't want to look too good out there. That would suck. After recovering from my concussion, I go on to attack a loose ball, pass it back to my center back, and start making a run. He tries to play it out to me, but unfortunately I'm just too slow and their defender gets ahead on it. Not much to analyze here other than the usual critique of just be more athletic. Next play. My mid, Kirk, plays the ball out to me. I sidestep to control it, and Matthias, my other mid, starts making a run and calls for it. I then play a decent through ball that he unfortunately isn't able to control. Now, although this almost works out, I don't think this was the best decision I could have made. When I receive the ball, I have a lot of space down the wing. That means I should dribble down it. Even with Matthias calling for the ball, if I start dribbling into this space, it would draw this defender close to me and leave even more space for Matthias. Number 16 would then have to cover, leaving a wide open gap for our forward Linden. My other note is that once I play this ball, I just stand still. Nothing out of the norm for me, but always pass and move. If he maintained possession here, and I was with him, it would give him the option to play it back to me, and allow for me to cross the ball into a dangerous area. This next play exemplifies what I was just talking about. My mid, Matthias, plays it out to me on the wing, and despite having a quarter of the field open, I decide to instead just boot a horrendous ball to my forward John. This frame offends me. It looks like I photoshopped out the opposition's defense. I have an unrealistic amount of space, but do I use this divine opportunity? No. That would require effort. Ruining the play is much easier. Let's just move on. Matthias plays the ball to me when I'm in a great position. I once again have a studio apartment's worth of space in front of me. As a winger, this is what you dream of. But I'm not a winger. I'm just a guy that happens to occupy that position. I dream about when I get to sit down again. So I just throw a nice sloppy ball in a general area and let the opposition enjoy possession again. Call me a philanthropist. If I haven't made it obvious, the best play is to take my touch down the line into the space, draw this defender away from my forward, and just square the ball to one of the three dudes begging to tap it in. Why am I like this? Next touch. The ball is launched into the air, and I make sure to let it bounce so that it doesn't hurt my head too much. I then head the ball with confidence and purpose, and then pick up the ball exactly where I intended to place it. I proceed to launch the ball over to my forward, who chests it down for me. I take a pretty crappy touch to set myself up for my left, and blast it just wide off the far post. Holy shit, a shot. Honestly, it's a miracle Chelsea has not spent $250,000 on me yet. Let's look back at this in 2 moments. The first thing I should have done is brought this down differently. This is one of the few times I don't think heading it is the best option. As you can see, I'm being sandwiched by 2 players, and there isn't a clear passing option other than potentially heading it behind me to my forward. But I think this whole passage of play was me attempting that, so no longer an option. Instead, although this might be above my pay grade, I should have tracked this ball better and brought it down first time. Ideally with my left foot right as it bounces so that it springs the ball into this space and allows me to turn. Second moment. Once I receive the ball from my forward Lyndon, the idea of this touch is good, but the execution is horrid. When setting yourself up for a shot, you want to give yourself enough space to take a couple steps and run your laces through the ball properly. With the small touch I took, it forced me to take my shot with my planting foot way past the ball and strike it from behind, resulting in this weird bouncy thing. Instead, I should be planting my foot next to the ball and getting a solid, balanced strike. Next, we have a simple play. I attack the loose ball, take my touch into space, and find my left back. Wow. Golden sticker for me. Moving on. Matthias plays a high ball over to me, which I control seamlessly with my chest into space and play it back to my right back, who I guess was so startled that I did not just absolutely f up, that he boots it out of play to congratulate me. I guess this is what Pavlovian conditioning does to a person. Honestly, this was decent. I took my touch into space, felt the pressure from the defender, so just played it back. Another gold sticker for me, please. Alright, next play. Our other winger, Anthony, intercepts the ball and heads it out to our forward, John. He brings it down and holds up the play. I notice that I'm currently behind a defender, so I run out in front of him to create a passing lane. John notices this, sends the ball to me, I take a great first touch, and then I panic and toe poke the ball into oblivion. Time to return all the golden stickers. This play was almost so good. My movement was great, got me into a clear passing lane, my touch was great, set my left up perfectly, but then I remembered who I was and what this was. Sunday League. So I just had to keep myself on brand and do this instead of anything good. Being decent at the game makes me incredibly uncomfortable. In the next play, Kirk does a great job to intercept this ball and get it out to me immediately. Having humbled myself in the last play, I go back to the fundamentals. I take a poor touch, dribble at a snail's pace, and just pass it off to someone who's actually decent. Again, when I receive this ball, there is a lot of space in front of me. So if I just took this quicker, I would be past this defender and would be able to move the play forward. But because I took so much time, the defender was able to close me down and I had to relieve myself of the pressure. Moving on. The ball is blasted high toward me. I do the unthinkable and actually take this first time, but instead of just heading this back to Matthias, who is completely open, I elect to take a more creative approach and let this bounce off my back and just hand it over to the opposition. It's called vision, bitch. Next play. I control the ball with my chest, using my body to shield it from the defender. I break his ankles with a nice cutback, and then remember law number 3 of Sunday League. Thou shalt not string together more than 3 good touches. So I instantly dispossess myself. Not much to say here other than be better. Alright, we move into the second half scoreless, tied at 0-0. Matthias picks up the ball in the middle of the field. He spots me making a run and sends in a beautiful chipped through ball which just makes it past the defender. I pounce at the opportunity and continue my run, but their other defender does well to track back and pokes the ball away before I can get to it, resulting in a throw-in. Psych, I chase after the ball and keep it in. I then do the unthinkable. I face my defender and beat him. I dribble up to him slowly, hit him with a body feint, inject it with a burst of speed which creates space for myself, and launch the ball into a dangerous area, almost resulting in a shot on goal, except one of their defenders manages to get a touch on it. This might be the best move I've hit this entire series. It almost looks like someone who knows what they're doing. It's like watching your child take their first steps. It's beautiful. Alright, next play. This one's a long one, so stick with me, folks. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. The ball is cleared by my left back and it comes out to me. I almost managed to bring it down, but I missed the ball. So I go in for a second attempt, finally bring it under control. And by control, I mean I get it stuck under my legs and instead of moving out into space, I do a weird cutback and play it back to my defense. I then casually start jogging out to the wing. My forward, John, plays a nice ball out to me, which I once again miss and have to chase down. Eventually, I catch up with the young whippersnapper, play the ball back out to my forward and make a run. We almost connect on the 1-2, but their defender manages to stick a foot out. Let's go back and look at this. First thing to look at is this moment. Prior to receiving the ball, I have a defender on my back, so I don't have the option to turn. The best thing to do here is to try and play the ball back to my right back and move into space. Alternatively, since I do choose to bring it down, I once again need to make sure I scan my area for space. I actually have 3 different directions I could take this. I could take my touch toward my goal and reassess my options, instead of just trying to bring this close to my body as I'm doing here. I could take my touch parallel into this space and look for my mid Matthias, or finally, bring it down and start dribbling out into this space here. I chose the 4th option though. Dick around with the ball until I get pressured and then turn and face the only player that is of any danger to me. Epic. The rest is just a skill issue, so let's move on. Here, we have another beautiful through ball by John splitting the defense. I then engage in a foot race with the defender that I initially win, but the defender then uses his body well to shield the ball and allow the goalkeeper to just pick it up. I think the biggest note here is just to be more physical. I should be going shoulder to shoulder with this defender and to try to knock him off balance to gain control of this ball. Anything to try and get my body between him and the ball like he does to me. But I'm a beta male and recognize my place in the hierarchy. Next play. I take a certified Dave classic of a touch, but then redeem myself by hitting a casual Cruyff turn and then try to sneak a through ball to my forward, which he just cannot get to. Let's look at what I should have done. I'm almost at the top of the 18, a decent distance to take a shot. My intuition as an attacking player should be to always try and set myself up for a shot in these situations. The way to do that in this instance would be to take my touch out here, where I'd be facing the goal perfectly for a curling shot toward the far post. Another potential here is to play Anthony by splitting the defense here. He could then either take his touch into space and try for a shot, or hold it up and let me make a run into this area. But that might be too advanced for Sunday League. So honestly, just forget everything I said. I did the perfect thing. Next touch. We are awarded a free kick, and I set up to take it. Now, prior to these games, I was waking up early in the morning, going to a nearby pitch to practice my free kicks. So I was ready to seize my moment. It doesn't even make it to the goal. Practice does nothing. Don't bother. This dude then immediately shows me up, blasting a ball from way further out straight on target. Our goalie Drew then throws the ball over to me. I then do whatever the fuck this is, get the ball out to my forward, and start making a run down the line. John holds the ball up for a little, sends in another great through ball. I do not miss it this time. I then dribble for a little until I eventually cut it back and send in a cross that Trent Alexander-Arnold would be proud of. It finds my winger Anthony, who is one-on-one with the keeper, but is just unable to finish. Other than this thing, this was a decent passage of play. Next play. John gains possession in the middle of the pitch, once again sends in a beautiful through ball, and for the first time today, I take a great touch toward goal. I then set myself up and score my first. I got called offside. Nice finish though. We move on to a similar sight. The ball is played out to John. I make a run. He flicks through a stunning through ball, and I'm through on goal. Now, no offside this time. Just me, the ball, and the goalie. And running up to this ball, I had already decided on how I was going to finish this. I just watched Mbappe do it a couple days ago. Slide and hit it on the half volley, guiding it into the far corner. Should be easy, right? At least a shot on goal, right? But I think looking back at this, what I should have done differently here is score. Now we move on to the first goal of the game. One of their wingers holds up the game, adds a burst of speed, zooms into the box, rifles the ball into the near post. It comes back out and gets passed into the far corner by one of their forwards. Bummer. Next touch. Kirk sends the ball down the line. I chase it down and manage to keep the ball close to my feet. I then face my defender, look up, see my forward is in the box, and gently lob in an atrocious cross. Okay, so even if I did end up getting this out to Linden, this isn't the best option as he is the only one in the box with two defenders in front of him. A better option would be to hold this up as long as possible for the cavalry to arrive. Or look for a pass back and move into space. Also, the reason this cross was so terrible was because I once again did not set myself up to properly deliver it. Look at this little toddler touch I take. The ball is way too close to my body, and once again, my planting leg lands way past the ball and doesn't allow for me to generate enough power to get this high or far enough. Trigger warning. These videos were recorded around August of last year, and what you're about to witness next has still been seeping into my nightmares to this day. What you've seen up to this point is ASMR compared to what's coming up. I'm warning you, this is not for the faint of heart. Our left back Nick launches a great ball past the defensive line. Our forward John manages to beat his defenders and gets on it. He tries to flick it past the defender, but it finds his hand instead, which is unnoticed by the ref. John continues his play, he shields the ball from the defender, and sends in a fantastic ball that sets me up for a simple tap-in. This is my moment. Time for me to shine. My first goal of the season. An important equalizer. My team needs me. I'm ready. I'm ready to feel the glory. This is gonna feel so good. I want to go home. And that's all, folks. They end up scoring another goal or whatever, and the game ends 2-0. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Let's get better together.